Hello, this is Smislav the Slayer doing a live chess blitz game commentary. We're going to play c4. This is the English. Usually this goes to the Maratsky bind or the hedgehog. Looks like sometimes it actually goes to the King's Indian, which is often the case when he plays g6 and bishop to g7 first. And it actually looks like we're going to the King's Indian, which is excellent. I like to play against the King's Indian. It's usually a fun game. So bishop to e2. These are all. I actually have this opening memorized, which is kind of rare. A lot of my openings I don't really know what I'm doing, or I do but I forget, or play the wrong move really early on. So, like at this point now, I think the whole idea behind a5 is to prevent b4 or a3 b4. It's actually a pretty solid move, but it's not that good. It's not great. I'm gonna go ahead and play d5 and knight to d2 and f4 or something maybe. So he's gonna play knight to c5. Yep, yep, yep. The problem here is that, see, now we just play f4. And this looks very excellent. I mean, not that excellent, but I have a lot of, it's very unusual, so that in that sense it's pretty good. I mean, my development is kind of problematic, but these things happen. I'm gonna go ahead and play just knight to f3. Possibly sacrifice this rook for an exchange. Play a little wild style this game. And with the idea, of course, with knight f3 is to challenge this knight on e5. I do want to be careful about this, and also actually to get this dark square bishop to be able to develop, actually. Because that is usually helpful. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take this. So, if he takes his... See, that would be terrible. He could double my pawns in the c file, but that would be terrible, because then I have the dark squares really, really good. And I even have the d4 square, so I don't see that being very good at all. Okay, I think now he's going to go for this e4 pawn. And it is a little bit difficult for me to deal with that. But not impossible. So I'm going to go ahead and like, oh, see, that's not good. So he just plays knight to b4. Actually, no, knight to b4 doesn't really do a whole lot. It just puts my queen to probably what is going to be a better square anyway. Knight to c5. I don't know. I just have sacrificing the e4 pawn is not the end of the world, actually. Bishop to e3 might be a good move. Might have been a better move, actually. Bishop to e3, rook to f1. Just sacrifice the e4 pawn to get some sort of attack. I don't want to sacrifice it too lightly, though, because I mean, it's just not a good thing to do. But go ahead. I'm gonna take that now. I think he can take it knight. No, okay. He's gonna go for the e5 square, which is fine. Knight e5, rook to f2. And I'm not really sure. I don't see where he's going with this knight. I mean, knight to g4, bishop takes. That's fine for me. I think maybe queen to d2 is coming up here. Queen to d2, bishop to h6. Exchange off this dark square bishop. Maybe try to get for this f pawn. c5, actually. The traditional way of attacking the King's Indian might be worthwhile now. c5, d takes, yeah, and then this knight is no longer in a good spot. And then maybe c5, d takes, knight to b5. That doesn't seem to do a whole lot, actually, though. Okay. Let's see here. So he wants to trade off. He wants to get his knight to g4. I'm not going to let him. Bishop takes, queen takes. I don't think I'm losing this pawn. His knight is still not in a great spot. I mean, actually, his knight's in a really good spot, but he can't attack these two pawns, so I'm doing all right. c5 is still definitely a possibility. c5, and then, excuse me. Ooh, okay. Okay, c5. Okay, now he's protecting his b5, though, so... Oh, I know what I want to do here. Bishop to d4. Bishop to d4. Does he have checks, though? Because I don't want him to be able to play knight takes, or knight somewhere and then check. I mean, like knight to g4. Queen to d2 first. Ooh. Okay, I gotta make sure I don't lose the c pawn, though. I mean, b3 would have been more prudent. b3. d4, bishop to h6. Okay. That's fine by me. I feel like I'm better able to attack on the king side than he is, so. And actually the queen side now. Well, no. Takes. If he takes, he gets his bishop here. I'm not sure about how I feel about that. Not sure how I feel about that at all. C5. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I don't see too many better options. Maybe I should just left it be. C5, D takes. I know what I want to do here. Knight to B5, knight to D4. As a good plan in my opinion. Knight to D5, B5, putting a little bit of pressure on the C7 pawn. I mean, it's defended, of course, but it does, do some stuff. And then knight to D5, attacking this F5 square and this E6 square, even if his bishop's not there. And then bishop to H6 maybe at some point. I do want to be careful though, because this D5, this diagonal here could be pretty bad for me if my rook gets pinned here, and he has his rooks here and all that. I'm way up on time, which is excellent considering last game I was about 2 minutes down on time. I need more coffee. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, he's taking quite a bit of time here. I wonder if he's commentating his game as well. That'd be kind of funny. I don't know if that's probably not actually happening. But knight to D4, knight takes F5. I'm not sure about knight to E6. I think that I would not play that because I don't want, like, for instance, if you play, I don't. Okay, so not knight to E6. I do want to keep this F file pressure, but I'm not sure if it's possible, which is a real bummer. I'm gonna go ahead and play bishop to H6. Bishop to H6. I think bishop to H6 works all right. Bishop to H6 works pretty well. Rook takes, rook takes. I'm worried because I don't want it to have something where he can. I don't think he can get this knight. This knight will be undefended though. If, for instance, bishop takes H6, queen takes H6, that's sort of like a problem spot. Actually, this bishop's a little light on defenders as well. So I'm kind of spreading myself a little thin here, but that is usually the way you have to win a game. You can't just play solid the whole way through. And he's getting way low on time. I think I'll be able to win on time, regardless of what the moves are played. So, I mean, that's kind of unfortunate in some ways, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. I mean, that's kind of how I lost my last game, so it's kind of ironic that I'm going to end up winning this game that way. Now, I think, yeah, bishop takes, king takes, bishop takes. Okay. Go ahead and play queen to g5. He's playing pretty well for having to play real fast. Am I down a pawn? No. Okay, that's good. Just take it. Tagging this thing. Okay, and then he forfeits on time. So that was a pretty cool game. I'm not really sure if my opening was sound at all, but it worked. He played a5. This actually is a tricky move to deal with because b4 is such a predominant part of the king's Indian for white that when black plays a5 like that, it forces you to have to play in some way that you're not used to playing. You can't play the same moves and expect success. And so that's why I didn't. I don't know if, like, I kind of went a little crazy here with some of these moves, but I mean, it worked. I don't know if f4 is probably not good. At all, because it opens up this long diagonal, and it gets the rook kind of in a weird spot. And it opens up the e5 square for the knight. So it actually looks kind of like a terrible move. But I did make this knight. No, I didn't even make that knight look that silly. because it just reroutes, and then you got the bishop over here. So I'm not really sure how I managed to come out on top. I guess I just didn't play very well. I mean, I did have the F file pressure, and I guess he didn't really have. I guess the knight was a little bit out of the game because it took like 4 moves to get to where it wanted to be, and even then he didn't have much attack against these 2 pawns. He never really developed any sort of attack against these 2 pawns, and I didn't really develop too much of an attack either. I guess that the end position was pretty much equal, so maybe that's why the moves I made were bad, not because they were losing, but because black gets an easy equality. And, you know, for white being the one who moves first, generally white wants some sort of advantage out of his opening. So maybe that's the whole deal here, is that I didn't get any advantage, and that's the problem. But I mean, I had an easy game. In the A5 pawn, I mean, it might have been a liability in the end game. Like for instance, in this final position, if he plays A4, then I can play knight to D4, and then B3. Well, probably not B3, but you know, C2, maybe. I guess, I don't know. I mean, in the end game, he looks actually pretty good in the end game too. So, I mean, maybe maybe this is I played a bad chess game, but won on time. So, I'm not sure. But it was pretty fun. So, thanks for watching.